In this lesson, we're going to see how we can factor a trinomial with a lead coefficient of 1. You notice this is a trinomial because it has three terms, x squared, 5x, and 6. And we can factor this trinomial by breaking it into two binomials, which we'll set parentheses for now. Now we know this trinomial has a lead coefficient of 1 because we look at the number in front of x squared, and it's assumed to be 1 here because there is no number visible. So that's always assumed as a 1. We look at the first term, x squared, and we write x here and x here because x times x is x squared. Now we look at the last term, plus 6. We ask ourselves what numbers can be multiplied together to give us 6 that at the same time, because of this sign, can be added together to give us the middle term, which is 5. And in this case, we would have to say that is 3 and 2. We put them right here. Because 3 times 2 is 6, 3 plus 2 is 5. And this plus sign tells us both the signs are the same, and this other plus sign right here tells us that both signs will be positive. And so our two factors for x squared plus 5x plus 6 are x plus 3 times x plus 2. One thing you can do sometimes to check these is to ask yourself the question, what is x times 2, the outside terms? That's 2x. And what is 3 times x? That's 3x. And if I add those together, 3x plus 2x equals 5x, which is the middle term right here in the original equation. And so it checks. Now let's clear this and take a look at another example. This time I'm going to just change the sign a little bit. I'm going to write x squared minus 9x plus 20. Again, the lead coefficient is 1. Put my two parentheses. I'm going to put an x here and an x here. And I'm going to look at the number 20. And I'm going to ask what numbers can be multiplied together to get 20 that can be added together to get 9. In this case, 4 and 5. So I'm going to put 4 and 5. Now remember, since the sign that I've circled is plus, that tells me the signs will be the same, but this time the sign in front of 9 is negative, therefore both of these will have negative signs between the two terms. So the factors now are x minus 4 times x plus 5. I'm going to clear this one and try one more here. This time I'm going to go x squared plus x minus 20. Okay. Again, I have a lead coefficient of 1. I'm going to set up two sets of parentheses, and I'm going to split the x squared, x times x right there, and I'm going to look at this last number again. This time the number is 20, but the sign in front is now negative, which tells me to subtract. So I have to ask, what numbers can I multiply together to get 20, that when I subtract them will give me the number in front of x, which is assumed to be 1 since there is no number visible, and those numbers would be 5 and 4, because 5 times 4 is 20 and 5 minus 4 is 1. And when the number, or when the sign rather, circled is negative, it tells me the signs will be opposite. One will be plus and one will be minus. The big number gets the sign that's right here. In this case, that's a plus, so the big number is 5. It gets a plus sign. The 4 gets a minus sign. Now, if you'll remember, one thing we said we can do to check is we can say outsides together. That's x times negative 4. That's negative 4x. and insides together, 5 times x is 5x. When we put 5x minus 4x together, we get 1x, which is our middle term, so we have factored it correctly. Let me do one more with a minus sign, and that should cover our examples for trinomials that we're factoring with a lead coefficient of 1. And I'm going to try x squared minus 4x minus 12. Lead coefficient is 1. Set my parentheses, put my two x's right here and right here. And now I look at the number 12. What numbers do I multiply together to get 12 and subtract to get 4? And that seems like 6 and 2, because 6 times 2 is 12. 6 minus 2 is 4. This time the signs will be different because the circled sign is negative, and this time the big number will get a negative sign. So 6 is the big number, it gets the minus, the 2 gets the plus, and now I have factored x squared minus 4x minus 12 into its two binomial factors, x minus 6 times x plus 2.